Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of To The Point. Today's topic of discussion is particularly vulnerable tribal groups. First of all, let's see why this is in news. The Ministry of Tribal Affairs has requested the Registrar General and Census Commissioner of India to enumerate particularly vulnerable tribal groups separately in the upcoming census. Now, let's discuss the particularly vulnerable tribal groups. PVTGs are a subcategory of scheduled tribes in India which are recognized for their unique vulnerabilities. These groups have either stagnant or declining populations, geographic isolation, limited access to development, use of pre-agrarian practices like hunting and gathering, economic backwardness, and low literacy rates. Now, let's talk about the historical background. The category of PVTGs was created based on the Debar Commission's recommendations led by UN Debar, which examined the issues faced by scheduled tribes and suggested the classification of certain tribes as more vulnerable than others. Initially, 52 tribes were identified as PVTGs, then known as primitive tribal groups, during the 5th five-year plan. This number later grew to 75 after the addition of 23 tribes in 2006. The groups are currently spread across 18 states and the Union Territory of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Now, let's discuss why is the government focusing on PVTGs. The government's request to enumerate PVTGs separately in the census is intended to identify these groups' specific needs and ensure the better implementation of welfare schemes. For example, the Pradhan Mantri Janjati Adivasi Nyay Maha-Abhiyan PM Janman scheme launched in 2023 has a budget of Rs 24,104 crore to improve the living conditions, health, education and economic status of PVTGs in over 200 districts. Lastly, moving on to the PVTG enumeration in previous censuses. PVTGs have never been enumerated separately in previous censuses, though some of the groups are included under the broader ST category. The 2011 census included some PVTGs like the Baigas of Madhya Pradesh separately. However, other groups such as Abuj Marias, Bhariyas, Hill Korbas, and Kamars were not separately listed. Additionally, the census data for only the main STs is tabulated, and subgroups like PVTGs are grouped under a broader nomenclature. Now it's time for a practice question. Consider the following statements about particularly vulnerable tribal groups. 1. PVTGs are a subcategory of scheduled tribes identified for their socio-economic and geographic vulnerability. 2. PVTGs have been separately enumerated in every census conducted by the Government of India. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? A. 1 only, B. 2 only, C. both 1 and 2, D. neither 1 nor 2. Please provide your answers in the comments section.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.